it down right now. They see stories every play, every time we're Rob Brown breaking it all down. Yeah. SEC, sideline sports on my mind. Rob Brown calling game time, highlight shine, executive mind. Brendan Martin keeping Rob in line. Like, subscribe, share it, tell everyone. Sideline sports, y'all come back real soon. Same place, same time, same tune.
Brendan and the band out there in the garage. I love it.
Cold out in the garage.
It is. It's cold out there.
From the booth to the field.
You know,
Every Saturday feeling you home.
one thing I've learned is that all bands started in a garage. And you and I and Ron Higgins are old enough to remember all those great bands. And Nirvana became the poster child for what they call a garage band. But I guarantee you Ron knows some heavy metal bands. He probably may have been in one. Hey, take a picture with your cell phone of the QR code. We're broadcasting live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 channels live streaming. That is hard to do, but our EP does it every day. And check out these reels, guys. We are putting out a ton of content. Brendan is doing that, plus all the other shows on this channel. And look, share it, like us, and subscribe. Let me say it again. Share, like, and subscribe. You're watching the show right now. Turn on your Facebook, YouTube, Twitter notifications and share it with all your friends, all y'all that know me. Do the same thing. Hey, interesting bit of trivia as we welcome aboard one of the best in the business, Ron Higgins, Hall of Fame sports writer, Oakley McFerrin, the intern from down on the plains in Auburn. Interesting, Ron, David Aquadro, I don't know if you know him. He's Christian Brothers grad. I got this from something he sent me now. Fun fact, Sam Darnold's grandfather was Dick Hammer, the original Marlboro man. I don't know if people know that. He played basketball at Southern Cal and won a gold medal on the volleyball team in the 1964 Olympics in Tokyo. So a little bit of trivia, and he got it from John Harden on Sports 56 WHBQ. He heard him saying that. He said he was smoking weed and playing beach volleyball, and they asked him to try out for the Olympic team, and the rest is history. Wow. Hey, only in America, Ron. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I love the garage band stuff because if you can see behind me, it's like that's my drum set.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. Now, my wife was a snare drummer in the middle school band at Collierville Middle School, but that's about as far as her music career
What
went.
kind of music you play,
I
Ron?
play everything, man. I got everything back there. I got a complete set of Ludwigs, some congas, bongos. I got everything back there, man.
Toms.
Yeah, I got rotocoms.
I love those.
Yeah. So yeah,
I love it.
Cool.
Regular Neil Peart over there, probably, huh?
But not really. Okay, no. I can't come close to Neil Peart.
Buddy Rich, and John Bonham.
R.I.P. Neil Peart, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Foo Fighters old drummer who died. I can't remember the guy's name. I love him.
Yeah.
Guy played the hell out of it. And this guy on the internet, you've seen this long-haired dude.
Yeah.
That's just like, he is the quickest hands and most phenomenal drummer and feet I've ever seen in my entire life. But I don't think the guy could be in a band because he can't be contained. He doesn't. The secret of a good drummer of a band is like you give it a steady beat and you fill in places. This guy cannot help himself. He could not be in a band because he's so damn fast and so good and he kind of overplays everything because he can.
Yep.
But it's fun to watch on video.
Hey, was it Sturgill Simpson, before we get to sports now, but it all plays together, was Sturgill Simpson the guy that played 24 hours straight on YouTube? It was one of these guys, and whoever it was, I think they had done some meth or something, but 24 hours straight playing. I saw Sturgill Simpson last spring, Ryan, at the Landers Center, LandersFordMemphis.com, one of our sponsors, driving F-150. You won't get stuck in the snow and ice, but that concert, he played for about 3 hours. Most of these musicians are out there hour and 15, hour and a half. The Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl, his claim to fame, he drives a minivan. So let's get rolling.
Taylor Hawkins, by the way, the
Taylor
drummer.
Hawkins, yeah, hell of a drummer. He died. The Foos play about 3 hours when they play. They're really good.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Foos
when
are-
you go to a concert, you get your money's worth. That's we all remember. And then you got to contact Buzz for 2 or 3 days to recover from going to the Mid-South Coliseum.
You'll never guess the last concert I saw about 2 weeks ago. I've always wanted to see this guy. In fact, I learned how to drum listening to his records and Beatle records. Herb Albert and the
Wow.
Carolina Balls. 90 years old. He played for 2 hours straight. Just killed it. Yeah.
I love my parents when I was a kid had all the albums. Herb Alpert and the Tijuana. I've still got them. And what was it that Don Rickles would come out to? The El Toro, the bullfighter. It
was great.
I love it. Ryan, let's talk about pressure. Oakley wants to get into sports management, the business side of sports, and he's at Auburn. And I'm like, get all the experience you can and meet everybody you can. What do they say? It's not the grades you make, it's the hands you shake. Ryan's one of the best in the business. I want to get your thoughts on what's going on. We're going to stay at 12 in the playoff. We're not going to 16 yet. The Big Ten wants to go to 24. I'm going to hand the ball off to you. We're in the red zone. Get us in the end zone.
I would go more than 16. I don't think there's 24 teams deserving to be in the playoff in football. There just isn't. I think 16 would be your tops. 12 is good, but there's still some controversy. There's always going to be some controversy. If you go to 16, the 17th, 18th, 19th, the team, they're going to be bitching about it. But I think 16 is probably about as far as you can breathe. 24 is just way too much for a playoff. People forget. I know this sounds ridiculous because they're getting paid now, but these are still college guys, and you're asking them to play a bunch of football like an NFL team. The season's long enough now. How long do you want to stretch this thing? And also, you have to consider this too. I think people forget this. The fans only have so much budget. Okay, you've got to figure out if your team's going to be in a playoff or whatever. Unless you're just loaded, you've got to figure out how you can stretch this stuff if your team gets to the playoffs. So, if you add another playoff game to this stuff, it's like, God, I got to play for another week to go somewhere. Unless they increase the amount of home games for this stuff. The Big Ten's out of their friggin' mind. Really, come on, man, 24 games. That's just not. It's not doable. I know you're money hungry for all the TV stuff and get more teams, and I get that. That's just way too much. I know 12 was okay this year. I think 16 would be the max, and you just max it right there. There'd be no more than that.
Too much. And Oakley, I would agree with Ron. Your thoughts on it? You like hot dogs, don't eat them every day because you'll get sick of them.
Yeah, I think for entertainment purposes, 16 would be fun, but I really think there's 12 teams every year that could win a championship. I don't think there's a 3-loss team that you could say, oh, this team could win a championship, and certainly not 24 because that's just ridiculous. That would ruin college football if a 4- and 5-loss team could make the college football playoff. It makes the games meaningless.
Yeah. Oakley, as a student in college, a sophomore in business and finance on Auburn, you're going to have to take accounting. I'm sure you'll have to take a calculus class. When was the last time you saw a football player or a basketball player on campus?
Yeah, I really, you don't see any of them. I see the baseball players around a lot. That's about it.
Ron, when you and I were in school, you remember, you were in Memphis from 79 to 2013, except for your brief dalliance with the Mobile Press Register. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, I got there in November of 83.
Okay.
I did some stuff in Louisiana before then, but November of 83, yeah.
Okay, into 2013, except for that year in Mobile. So you in Memphis for 30 years.
Year and a half, yeah.
You remember Oakley, back in the day, wasn't that long ago, Ron, remember you were terrified of who made their grades, who was on the slope academically. Remember Prop 48 in 1989. Ron, you're an investigative reporter. You will dig and find the stories. Why is the sound of crickets what we hear when it comes to academics with these so-called student athletes?
Because everybody finds a loophole to, not have to. I mean, a lot of these people, especially the graduate students, since they've already graduated, they take the bare minimum when they transfer, and then they try to do it online, so they don't have to see human life form. I mean, I know Joe Burrow was here. Probably, I don't think he ever, had a class in person. I think his class was football. But I agree with Oakley. The only people I've ever seen on campus in Baton Rouge probably are the baseball players and some of the gymnastics athletes and the spring sports athletes. I don't ever see hardly. Obviously, there's some football athletes who actually do go to class, but I see mostly baseball players, and more than anybody else because they don't insulate themselves, and their coach doesn't allow them to insulate themselves.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, one of my buddies was telling me a story at Alabama. I'm not going to air the player out because I'm sure a bunch of players do this, but he walks into class every day, gives this girl $100 bill, I guess, to do all of his work, and then leaves.
Well, yeah, I mean, back in the day, LSU had a quarterback. Wait, well, who was it? I mean, the guy eventually went to, maybe Bubby Brister, eventually went to the pros, I think. He enrolled LSU, and they knew he was an academic problem. And so they would have a coach take him to class and put him in class. And as soon as the coach would leave, the guy would walk out. And, you'd have a coach take you to class and make sure you got there. And you sit, wait till the guy left, and he'd take off. I think Bubby eventually mentioned he transferred to Tulane. I think he played somewhere in the pros a little bit. But, yeah, it's you have guys like that. I mean, some of these guys that they don't want to be in school, and the college athletics now, I'm not saying promotes that, but the way the atmosphere is now where you transfer somewhere every year. There's two people in college sports that probably their heads hurt every day of the week. It's the people who handle the NIL salary cap and academic counselors figuring out, okay, so you've been to what, 3 schools already? And how many credits do you have? And did this transfer from this place, or did they transfer all the way through, or did you lose credits? How do these guys even graduate?
Yeah.
If they've gone to 4 schools? I mean, if you're TJ Finley, God bless him and his 7 schools. If you're TJ Finley, every time I hear TJ Finley's name, I think of the John Belushi Animal House.
Yeah.
8 years of school down the drain.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just like, those are probably your support staff and your athletic department. Those are 2 right now that probably the most overworked people because there he is. I love that. Hey now, that's a great. I'd love that for a T-shirt. My God, that'd be a great T-shirt.
The tour of the South.
And so now I'll look at the academic counselors and the people who handle the NIL, budget and salary cap is the people probably the most overworked people or busiest people or whatever, and because they've got to deal with players and agents and attorneys and God knows what.
Yeah. Well, I want to get your thoughts too, Ron, on Charles Bediako. He was greeted warmly with love and affection by the student section in Gainesville Sunday at that beatdown 100-77 by the Gators. But we had the discussion. You were on with us last Friday. That was fun on the roundtable. And Thursday, we talked with Gary Harris in Tuscaloosa, sports director, WVUA Channel 23. Oak, your dad probably knows him. You've watched him on TV. Does a great show on Tide 100.9. And Gary said, I don't like what's going on with Bediako, but he said, look around the league. Auburn, he wasn't trying to single them out, but they've got a guy that played 3 years in Serbia or Croatia professional basketball. They come from overseas, and then they play in college here. So I think that was the opening, Ron. I want your thoughts on that. And then when are we going to have an NFL guy say, damn, Drew Bledsoe, after he got beat out by Tom Brady, I'm going back to Washington State or whatever. That's where we are.
Yeah, for years you've had guys, play internationally. And they're brought up in on club teams,
Yeah.
and some of them play in college. Some of them go straight to for instance, Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol. They were club teams in Spain.
Yeah.
A lot of international guys play, from the time they're 15 or 16 with professionally on club teams, and yeah, they're allowed to play here. But I would. That's a great line question, because I think the difference is if you've already been enrolled in college here and played here,
there you go,
and then you get, then you're in the NBA and you're under NBA contract and you're in the G League or whatever. I think that's the difference. It sounds crazy, but that's the difference. If you're already enrolled in college here and then go to the NBA, a lot of these guys, in Europe, the club league, they go to school and play in the club league and club leagues at the same time, and they get an education. But the whole thing is, I just think the difference is if you enroll in college here and then you've already played in college here, then you go to the NBA and want to come back to college. That's a stretch, because as we know now, that all you got to do is get a lawyer and a favorable judge, and you get a ruling, and you're going to, you're eligible. That's how it's done now. Because you challenge the NCAA on anything, and they fold up when they hear a lawsuit. So, but like I was, saying the other day on Dave Relations show, this is where the SEC should step in, and they don't do this. They always this BS excuse all the time. It happens with their drug policy. The league has no mandatory drug policy for everybody. It doesn't cover everybody. Every school has their own drug policy, so you can make it. One school could have one offense. Most schools have 5 offenses before you suspend it or whatever. The SEC refuses to have a drug policy that covers standard that covers the whole league, because the line is from the commissioner's office is that we leave that to the school's discretion. Well, it shouldn't be that way, and it shouldn't be this way for something like this guy. They're bending the rules. They're getting a lot. And maybe the SEC doesn't want to be sued. Maybe that's why they don't do it either. But I just think, you've got to have the buck's got to stop somewhere, and you need to stop in your own league. Stop in your own league. And a lot of times, something like that'll happen, and the excuse is, well, that'll give another league a competitive advantage if they allow this.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I see, nobody else is doing it. There's not a lot of guys out there who played in the NBA coming back and getting in school. I just like to see the conference office a little stronger on this stuff. I just, for the betterment of the whole league. And this league's always been about everybody working together, which is why it's grown to be, most powerful league in college sports, because commissioners over the decades have gotten all the presidents of the schools and athletic directors to agree to things together, even though some of them might not like it. They come out of the room in Sandestin, Florida, every spring when they have some legislation, and they come out with a vote. They make sure everybody's on board. Yeah. Before stuff is passed, and it's why, one reason Texas want to come to this league. I know why A&M want to come. A&M want to come to this league because they want revenue sharing. and Texas was getting all the money in their league, and A&M was tired of the crap.
Yeah.
They wanted to go to a league where there was revenue share, where everybody shared equally.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the SEC great. That's why the SEC is good in everything, because they have the biggest budgets, and it's not just from the NIL. Before that, in the SEC, everybody has a chance to win something in some sport.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's Vanderbilt in baseball and bowling, by the way, every school's got a chance to win something, or play for a national championship. I mean, baseball, Ole Miss and Mississippi State have won. Besides the main characters, and then LSU, and before that, South Carolina, and I think Georgia won one year, and Vanderbilt. Yeah. Everybody has a chance to be good, because there's this feeling it's one for all for one, when they create rules, and because of and the revenue sharing. And this is kind of goes against that grain, and probably in recent years it's been a little more snippy between schools, because obviously the NCAA doesn't have any rules now in football and transfer and NIL and what you can buy and whatever, and it gets schools suing schools for buyouts, and coaches leaving schools for other SEC schools, that's fine. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
that means no biggie. But it's got a little more contentious in recent years. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I think the Bediaka situation is something the NCAA needs to hop on immediately, and I'm surprised they haven't dealt with it yet, because this is just going to open the floodgates. If a guy can play 2 years at a school, declare for the G League, sign a two-way contract, which is a professional contract with an NBA team, and then come back, we're going to see that every single year. For every person that doesn't work out in the NBA is going to try to come back to college, and if we don't fix this now, it's going to be a massive problem moving forward.
Yeah, and Ron, you delineated so brilliantly how this works in Europe. Yeah, and I've been to Europe. Oakley, you've been there. You're over there in the summer. All that's on TV. There's two things. There's track meets, because track is just huge. Okay. The other thing is basketball. Everywhere you go on TV, they're watching basketball. And right here in Memphis with the Grizzlies, Mark and Pau Gasol. I mean, you think they're big here. In Spain, they are like some, star football player at LSU or Auburn or Alabama. It's that big. And that's the difference. And I like what Oakley just said. The NCAA needs to hop on this. Ron, is anybody doing any accountable journalism? I know you do. You will write. You don't go along to get along. You write the truth. You dig for the stories. We've got to have more of you. So don't even think about retiring. You and Tony Barnhart, Ken Capps, all these great writers we have on here, you're the ones asking the questions. A lot of the younger ones, I'm sorry, they're throwing, against the wall and hoping something sticks for clicks. And that's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ross Dellinger is really good.
He is.
Ross is I think he's from Biloxi, and
he is.
He worked here in Baton Rouge at one time, and left a really good legacy. It was followed by other good reporters who filled his spot. I don't see why it's so difficult to ask a hard question. I mean, if you word it correctly and you're not being, just obnoxious about it, I've never understood why, you can ask a hard question. I mean, I've always kind of laughed, because the majority of writers who cover Alabama were also like almost look at their head football coach as like some kind of god, and it's like, you go to SEC media today and you get somebody from a .com in Alabama. It's like, Coach Saban, it's like this. He's Nick, okay? He's Nick.
Yeah.
I remember I asked him a question. I mean, that's how you hate him. He had a bunch of staff changes. And I asked him a question. I said, Nick, you had all these staff changes. Nick, are you difficult to work for? And you could hear this audible gasp in the interview room at media day, like, I can't believe you asked that question. I'm like, you know, I just say, Coach Taven, can I ask you a question? Are you the greatest coach you ever lived? You get up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, how great can I be today? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
I don't call coaches coach. They're not a god. They're Nick. Or today I'll have Lane Kiffin. I'll say, Lane, you know, I mean, you know, and all that crap about a year ago or two, you know, where Deion Sanders said, you know, call me Coach Prime. You know, I won't talk to you. I wouldn't talk to you then. You're Deion, Coach Sanders, okay? You made up Coach Prime for promotional purposes.
Yeah.
You're Coach Sanders, okay? I have a hard time understanding why you can't ask a tough question and think about the way you word it, but ask the question. I don't get it, but I just think like again, there are a lot of .coms who just write stuff for clicks. I mean, there's this one. The one most recently was LSU's. You know, College Sports Commission was investing in LSU for NIL.
Yeah.
Problem. It wasn't football. It was in gymnastics. But every story online and that headline, they had a picture with it of LSU football or Kiffin, and it wasn't even that.
Yes.
And that's like strictly for clicks. You know, like, oh, what do you do now? What do you do now? Come on, man. I mean, this is like, you get respect from people you work with or people who read you by being straightforward and truthful and honest. And you don't, I mean, one guy told me one time, he goes, you know, I read you look like you write for clicks. I said, I've never written for clicks. Okay. Everything, if I write a column with opinion, I believe the opinion. I don't write stuff just to start crap.
Right.
This is what I believe. So when I write that, I believe it. I don't write it just to get clicks. I mean, I've never written just to get clicks.
Yeah.
And I think I understand a lot of these websites are fueled by that, and you get paid because of that. And I understand, you know, the kids and the younger writers sometimes are under fire for that because you know, they have to get clicks to get paid more money, and it's unfortunate. That's what it's come to in our business, that you know, you work for clicks and not for quality stories, and that's a shame. But I don't like that, but I understand why it happens. But I wish there were enough jobs out there, quality jobs for people now, where you wouldn't have to rely on clicks. But that's the way of our world journalism now.
Yeah. Oh, you heard what he just said, and exactly. You got to be a truth broker. Yeah. And looking at these coaches as some sort of a monotheical a deity is absurd. Oh, and I know you got to go to class here in a minute, but see why I wanted you on here so bad today with this guy. And I know this is another good one here, Dudley Dawson.
Dudley, what's up, baby?
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
All right, man.
See, this is what I love about this. These smart guys know each other, and they've got longevity. I'll tell you what.
One way of saying it into longevity instead of old. I like longevity. Yeah.
Endurance. We're all the same age. Oh, anyway, your takeaway from what he just said. I mean, because you go to class today, that's going to be ringing in your head when you're 90.
Yeah, I mean, especially with all that's been amplified in social media being such a big platform, because you work so hard to find the best headlines so people will click on it. Then you go to read the story and it's a bunch of gibberish about nothing related to the headline.
Yeah. Well, and it should be substance to it. I know back when I was in college writing for the Auburn Plainsman, Dudley and Oakley and Ron, the print media guys would be over here, and rest his soul, Philip Marshall, loved that man. You'd see those guys over there with Coach Dye. Then there was the radio guys. Then there was the TV guys. So I had Sidelines when I was in college, my radio show once a week, and for the paper. So I was kind of in two groups. But the writers, I still to this day, they're the best guests you'll ever have because they think about what they're saying because they've written it, Oakley. How do you learn when you take it from here, even though you already know it and you write it down? It's hard to learn online by looking at a screen, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and the main thing today also is people so much for the headlines start trying to twist words and twist things to people that they didn't say and just try to stir the pot. And I think that's one of the bigger problems we're dealing with now.
Clickbait. Don't like it.
I agree with it, man. Inside Arkansas, Dudley Dawson, Ron Higgins, Shreveport Bossier, in Baton Rouge covering LSU, the SEC, and all of college and pro sports. Great panel discussion in here. And
Hey, Ron, interesting offseason, huh?
yeah,
Nothing going on really. Just
Same up here, man.
same old
We
thing.
had the longest coaching search ever.
You got a little midget Napoleon governor who thinks he can run everything, and gets a really good athletic director fired. Who's really, really good. And
yeah,
other than that, nothing else. We got Lane today for the first time since his opening press conference today, so that'll be fun. I would say, Lane, if you add up all the money you spent, can you give me a figure? Can you give me a round number? Maybe 40 million? Lane, has anybody ever told you no for money so far? That's what I want to know. Can you tell me that?
Keith Carter.
Yeah, but just for a second, I want to get off that. Lost Philip Marshall this week.
yeah.
There are some guys in this league who are absolutely just all-time great characters and writers.
Yeah.
And Philip was one of them. I used to call him Philippe. He overcame a lot of health problems, a lot of stuff in his career.
Yep.
But man, he was a good writer. And we lost some really good ones. And of course, Dudley will know this. It's just not the same world without Bob Holt in it.
Yeah.
Just
And
really
and Nate Allen as well. We lost him.
Yeah, Nate as well. But Dudley and I have been in enough bread boxes with Nate when you could tell things were not going well with his computer. It was, God rest his soul, Nate. It was one of the funniest things. One of the first times I covered Arkansas, and I would hear it in the press box in a low moan. No. He lost his story, and Bob would go over there and go, I got this. A couple buttons. There it is. It was wonderful to watch. But two guys who
You just described my childhood.
Yeah. Two guys who just great journalists. And everybody loved them. And when you lose a couple on your beat, it hurts. It really does. I've lost a few along the way here, but not that many. I wasn't in Memphis. My guy, when I was really good friends with Joe Biddle, who was absolutely hilarious. In fact, Bid would probably, if he was today, he would compliment you, Dudley, on matching your glasses, your red glasses with your red outfit. Because Bid was the
try to hide my face as much as I can. I got a beautiful wife. I don't know how I pulled it off. I must have great recruiting.
Bid was the Prince of Pastels, we called him, and another great character. Just like Brendan's dad, Buddy. Buddy's one of the great writers ever in the SEC in the South, and a true character. And I love the true characters, but this Philip this week was I hadn't seen him in a while, and a bit of a shock, I guess, but a true character. And there's a lot of funny Philip Marshall stories that you can't tell on the air.
Yeah,
because the FCC would step in.
Yeah.
But,
well, and real quick before, and I know Oakley, you've got to go to class. Philip Marshall, Auburn Undercover. He was one of those guys. Read all these guys you can, Oakley, every day. I know you got studies first, but what Ron just said and what Dudley
goes to class every day, man. It's awesome.
That's right.
I don't remember doing that.
Yeah. But I think it's so important remembering, because the stories that they tell. And Ron's right, Dudley's right, Buddy does it. Buddy's sending me stuff right now. Washington Post eliminated its sports department on Wednesday, a process that will include laying off dozens of journalists and bringing for an end a storied section which for decades boasted a devoted readership around the Washington, D.C. metro region and beyond. The sports staff of around 45 people was told to stay home from work. BS, BS, BS. I'm going to tell you what, reading is like lifting weights with your brain or running or working out. Otherwise, atrophy sets in and you become a vegetable. That's just my opinion. We need more writers. Oakley, learn how to write. And so, real quick, your prediction on the Super Bowl, who's going to win it all Sunday? I know you got to get to class, but this has been great stuff. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have.
Yeah, Seahawks have really been on a roll this year, really since they beat the Rams in overtime, and I think they finish it off with Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl as the starting quarterback, which none of us would have imagined 3 years ago.
Yeah, grandson of the Marlboro Man, we might add. Okay,
all right, thank you.
Be good. We'll talk to you later today, Ron. I'm so glad that you said what you said. I mean, Philip, whatever happened at Auburn, as crazy as things were, he was a voice of reason. That's what your great writers are. The way we build this show as a kid growing up in Memphis, you'd listen to like George Lapidus on the radio. You'd listen to, Dave Woloshin is a constant. He's been here since what, 84, 85?
Yeah, about the time I was there, yeah. Honestly, yeah.
And so when I heard y'all yesterday, it just puts things at ease. It's like going, Dudley, and talking to your mentor. If you could go back and talk to your favorite coach, your favorite teacher. Buddy is like that with me. I mean, Buddy helps me with everything. He says, you're like a point guard on that show, distributing, going from one guest to the other. I love the round table because I would listen growing up to those Arkansas writers, and that all, wherever they are, the great writers in Louisiana or Alabama, and the round table discussions were the best because it was the most, sometimes they'd have provocative questions, but you got great information. Dudley, you're covering Arkansas.
Arkansas just got his quarterback signed, the one that they moved from the 2027 to 2026 thing. So that's why my head was down here.
Do you like it? I want to ask your thoughts on the reclassification and yours as well after that, Ron. But I mean,
some of my best memories are my last semester of high school. And obviously I was playing basketball with Charles Ballantyne and all that, so I wasn't gonna leave and all that. But I hate that the kids are missing out. I get why everybody wants to get to college and start working their way into things and all that. But I guess in the big scheme of things, I'm the old man, get out of my yard and graduate normal. But Hank's a great kid. His dad's on the staff at Arkansas. I mean, they thought through this decision. It wasn't thrilling for Casey Dick, the Fayetteville High coach, where Hank Hendricks would have been the quarterback next year. But, I'm just I'm still old school guy who thinks that, you go 12 grades. And even if my parents, because I was so active, sent me to school a year early. So when I graduated, I was 16. So
yeah,
out of high school. So.
Yeah. Well,
I had to stay my senior year. I finally got a date in my senior year. So, man, that was good. I had to the drought was over. The drought was over and when I was a senior. Yeah, I played basketball, so I finally got somebody to go out with me. So I would hate to have led for my senior year and known I went 0 for 115.
My senior year, I was dating the homecoming queen. That's why she got to be the homecoming queen, because I was so good politically.
There you go.
That's my last foray into politics, was getting as my beautiful wife now, the homecoming queen. So
there you go, man.
And we think about this, and I like Indian Pass Pirate, Miss George Lapidus, the writers, Mike Fleming, Bobby Hall, Ron, and then you think of all the great writers in Arkansas, Wally Hall, there's so many that we remember.
Henry, Clay Henry. Honestly, Dudley, you might be the last of the breed. I mean, I know I feel that way, but you ever go in a press box down, look around and go, who are these people?
Yeah. It's up here. It's really me and Tom Murphy. Are the only ones that know. When Happy Days first came on.
Exactly.
That when there was only 3 channels on the TV. I mean, it's interesting. I try to crack jokes in the press box, and some of them just don't land because my target audience is 40 to 60, and the press box is filled with 20 to 40.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the best thing about the press box is just, I mean, when David Housel let me work and Buddy Davidson in high school at Auburn, Ron, it's the first time I cheered at a game. I thought David Housel was going to decapitate me. He goes, "Come here." I was like, ah, and Buddy Davidson and Reba Gulledge in that office. But God, what I remember the most was how you're supposed to treat people. When they're a guest at your school, you show them respect and you open up, and then that's how you see the friendships built. And you see the guys go. Remember the old photo booth? You'd go in there and you'd go around in circles and develop all the black and whites would be up there. So my freshman year, I'm working the first 5 games before I couldn't do it anymore because you couldn't cheer and you couldn't drink beer. And my pledge brothers were over in the drunk tank in the south end zone. I had to go over there with them. You couldn't cheer, but there were 2 writers from Tokyo covering college football in America. And they were there, no lie, for Bo Jackson's first game against Wake Forest. And he took a carry around in for 11 yards, scored a couple of touchdowns. And to hear those guys jump up in the press box going, "Hada! Hada! And I was going, wow. And David Housel looked over there and goes, "I don't know what they said, but
I think they said that's a bad.
yeah, that's right." But it's the respect that you have for the journalist. And I always tell, getting to meet someone like Jack Hairston, David Housel introducing me to these different people. Feinbaum was brand new back then. He had come over from that year in Shreveport. But George Lapidus writing an article in August of 1982 on the Skywriters Tour. "Oh, Bo, Auburn claims a Herschel clone." He went to dinner with Pat and Sue Dye, and they talked about this freshman in there. Those relationships, Ron and Dudley, it's like a painter is going to do a portrait of your child or you. There's a lot that goes into it. You don't just take one picture and that's who you are. And kind of pick up on that. There's nothing better than the great writers. You're like the great artist, the great, Monet, any of them. But keep going. I'm fired up about this.
I wish it was that way now. I don't think it's that way now. I think it's corporate. It's insulated. Every interview is done in front of a background with a corporate sponsor on it.
Yeah.
You rarely get a guy to stand with a group around him without an SID assistant telling you after 3 questions, after you've driven across town and crosstown traffic, and basically they selected the players for you, and you taught and 5 minutes into the interview, after like 4 or 5 questions, you have an SID person like, 2 more questions. I look at him like, they have to go somewhere? 2 more questions? I mean, they've been there 5 minutes. Can they take like 5 more minutes maybe? I find SIDs now the most unhelpful people in America, honestly. There are very few of them worth a damn left.
Yeah.
Most of them, their job is to protect their brand. And I'm using, it's crappy. Most SIDs in this league are crappy now because they don't want to help you. Except let's put this. Most of it's football. Most basketball and baseball people are helpful because, baseball is the easiest sport to work with in this league all time. Easy. The SIDs are usually really good. Their players are intelligent. They're available. The head coach is good. They care about you being there. I mean, and same thing with women's basketball. They care about you being there, and you have good access. Football's become so insulated, and the SIDs have become so friggin' bad at almost every school. It's hard for me. I'm on the press box committee of the Football Writers Association, where we have to pick you award the best schools, the SID operations for football seasons. It's hard for me to nominate an SEC school, honest to God, because all you hear is no, or you try to go through proper channels to set the interview, and you never get an answer on it. And then you might, And now, honest to God, you know, you have brother-in-law deals where guys get paid by dot coms and then they won't speak to anybody else. It's crappy. Honest to God, I mean, I wish it was. I mean, this is like not an old man complaining,
You're
but
not.
yeah, but it's what it's become, and I do miss talking to coaches, in a group like like come off a practice field, and a coach would talk to everybody for 10 minutes, and then everybody would kind of put their recorders away, and then he talked for 10 more minutes. This like this bull, this BSing, and he might say something about a player that's off the record, and he would trust you wouldn't write it because I mean, and maybe 2 weeks later you do this sort of the guy, and you go back to hey, you said this about this off the record. What can I use on the record about this guy that give me insight?
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore because I understand why coaches feel this way. Because if they're in front of 5 people and talking to them, he may know 3 of them, and he trusts them. He knows they're not. He knows that these are professional people. The other 2, as soon as they walk away, they're tweeting something about what he said, and so he can't risk the fact that he doesn't really know everybody. And I miss that about having to trust a professional working relationship with a coach where you can treat each other as human beings and talk out problems or talk. I mean, I miss that. You don't get that anymore because they're so insulated by their SIDs, and a lot of times, a lot of these coaches don't want to be insulated. They'd like to talk, but you don't. You can't. You can't get them. This is a true story. This is a true story. When I was president of the United States Football Writer Association, I met with the SEC coaches at the spring meeting. They called me in there, and like it's supposed to be a 15-minute discussion. This is the first time any writer has ever been on a football coaches meeting in a SEC spring business meeting, and it stretched from like 10 minutes to like almost an hour. And it was obvious they had no clue how we did our job, but because I think it was Mark Rick said, maybe Mark Rick said, he goes, I don't understand. He goes, a lot of times y'all write a story and it's not even news, but it's like it gets written. I mean, he goes, why is that? I said, I'll tell you why. And Dudley, you'll like this. I said, because usually you have to write something every day. And so say we had a player interview set up. Okay. But the SID tells us, oh, you can talk to the guy coming off the field after practice. Oh, that's a great setting. Guy just tired, been in practice 2 hours. He just wants to go get something and lay down.
Get that good grassy sweat smell.
So you don't get anything. So you think, okay, I'll talk to the assistant coach. I mean, who coaches him? Wait a second. The head coach doesn't allow you to talk to assistant coaches. And so there you are. It's say 7 o'clock, 7:30. You've got to write something for tomorrow. So you take something that might be a tidbit and you turn it into a story. And you know it's not a story, but you kind of lengthen it out somehow. And so the next day when you read it, you're saying, why is this a story? And I'll look at everybody and said, because you made it that way. And they all went, oh, yeah. Because all schools don't have the same media policies. They don't.
Yeah, I once had a coach ask me a similar question to that. Why did you write that particular story? I said, why did you practice today? He said, well, we had to get better and we're contractually obligated. And I said, well, that's kind of what you do too. They got a space in the paper, I got to fill. Or they got a radio show, I got to talk on. I've been very fortunate that I had Rick Schaefer.
Rick Schaefer was the best.
And,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh my God.
and Kevin Trainer.
Yeah. Oh.
And right now the guys here are good, and sometimes their decisions I don't like, but they're kind of come from the head on down. And I'm pretty good to work with, but every once in a while I'll get out there. But I couldn't agree more with Ron. It's just, man, I'm so glad I'm at the
Yeah.
end of the career, not the beginning, because the back in the glory days were when I was young, and now I just, NIL, lawyers, attorneys, agents, it's just
What's hilarious when you talk when you're talking to one of your say guys your age about something. There's a young guy standing there. You say, yeah, remember what he said in the dressing room that day? And then they go, what? You in the dressing room?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Arkansas was one of the all-time best. I mean, honestly, Dudley. I mean, football and basketball. I mean, they were just like they probably held out longer than anybody before they got the interview rooms. And the problem is, and some coaches say, "What? I mean, why don't you write more features on our guys?" I said, because you don't give us access to them, and you don't let us talk to your assistant coaches, and you don't let us talk to freshmen who are good. It's always you can't talk to this guy, you can't talk. So how can we write features on guys when we don't have access to them, when we have time to sit down with them? Even
and now the schools have their own, TV.
Yeah, and then their own website people who write for them. So they have natural inside access that we never get.
Yeah.
It's hard. So it's not as good as it used to be. For all the things Brian Kelly wasn't, the one thing he was media friendly. I mean, we got to get him in practice a lot in the preseason. We saw, and his reasoning was pretty good. He goes, I want you to know what we're doing, so you'll have an idea for this game. I mean, what's going on? I mean, so we knew they were going to have offensive line problems. We knew Nuss might be running for his life. I mean, we knew that. But before you would just, I mean, every LSU coach since I've been, I came back, start with Les. You couldn't get in their practice, so you were guessing how they were to start the season. Yeah. And made you look stupid when they were bad, and you thought they were going to be good. And so I appreciate the coaches who try to give you access to, and let you see some things. Nick Saban and I had a great discussion about this one time. It was funny as hell. Nick and I have always gotten along because I think he respects how long I've been around, and I ask decent questions, and I don't.
You do.
But we had a discussion one time. I said, Nick, let me try to understand this. You don't allow your media into spring scrimmages. Why? He goes, well, but because if I have a 4-string running back, going against the third-team defense, and they run for 150 yards, you guys are going to write how great he is, and then his mother's going to call me and get on my ass about playing time. I said, no. I said, wait, back up. So the guys who cover you every day, who know this is a fourth-team running back and can put it in proper perspective, you keep them out, but yet you let boosters and former players in there, and they're tweeting about this guy as soon as it happens. I said, explain that to me. He goes, I just want to control the message. I said, let's say that then. Don't give me that BS stuff about, write this stuff. Just say you want to control the message. I understand that. I get that. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to control the message, keep the boosters and your former players out there who tweeting stuff and go to practice.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah, Nick and I've had some great discussion about this stuff. It's hilarious.
It is, and it's tough. You think about Chuck Galena. You may have known him, worked at Auburn for 25 years, and his dad was my vet until he passed away December of 2007. And his dad told me one time, he said, Rob, we were down at an Auburn game, and Coach Jordan, we were somewhere where he was. He said, Chuck, why don't you and your wife and the kids come by the house over on Woodfield? We're having a party after the game, and you're welcome. And he's like, really? And he goes, we went over there, and Coach Jordan answered the door and made us drinks. He goes, can you imagine that happening today? And you think about when Alabama was up here playing UCLA, they were at the Waterworks where they would practice for the Liberty Bowl. Ron, over there by the University of Memphis. Yeah. Two of my friends, Rob Ruffin and Clay Templeton, snuck out on the practice field. Coach Bryant, they had a tower for him up there, and security guard went over there and grabbed him. And Coach, this is a true story. Coach Bryant was like, hold on, came down from the tower, went over, put his arms around him, shook their hands, took photos with them, signed their footballs, and autographed their shirts. And I heard about it at Grace St. Luke's Middle School the next day because I'm an Auburn guy every day. But that kind of stuff you don't forget. Jackie Sherrill talking about the daily routine of Coach Bryant. He would sneak off and go to Archibald's Barbecue or Dreamland before it was a household name. He did not grow up with opulence. He grew up in Morrow Bottoms, Fordyce, Arkansas. Hard times, one of 12 kids. Those stories that y'all write about as writers, don't ever stop doing it. Always be you. I hate it when people say, I'm getting to the end of please don't retire, because you're the only ones that are, I'm not saying the young guys, because I got kids that age and so do y'all, but it's frustrating when people, stop doing what they do. You questioning Nick Saban and you mentioned Kevin Trainor. What a good guy. He's at SEC Media Days. Y'all know who I'm talking. He's like the guy at the restaurant, 2, 4, or like at Mass at St. Louis, they 2 seats, 4 seats, come up here. He is just a good person. And you better treat people right, Dudley and Ron. Y'all know that. Y'all are 2 of the best. Vince is out today at Knoxville, who covers Tennessee for us. He's actually getting to meet with some basketball coaches and players today. It's like, hey, you got to take it when you can. But I got to say, for both of y'all, man, this is one of the best shows. Just hearing this, today's redneck word is mayonnaise. Mayonnaise, a lot of great stories out there, to borrow that from Jeff Foxworthy. Give credit to. I did not come up with that. But
Jethro Bodine said it first, though.
Okay. Jethro. How old was he?
There's a man who knows his Beverly Hillbillies there.
Yeah. Was Jethro reclassified as a 6th grader? 6th grade?
Yeah.
I got this for you. My mother worked in Baton Rouge with Ellie Mae.
Oh,
wow.
At a department store. Yeah, together when they were kids.
Donna Douglas.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. There you go.
Childhood,
Dash
baby.
Riprock tried to date her always,
Yep.
And Rip Torn. Hey, guys, I got to say thank y'all both so much. First off, Ron, let them know how they can follow you, and Dudley, do the same thing. And we'll do it again here next week. This is awesome stuff.
ShreveportBullersJournal.com, theronhiggins.org, Twitter at Ron Higg, and on Instagram, SEC Ron.
Thank you. Dudley?
Hogville.net, InsideArkansas.com. Let's see what else. FearlessFriday.com. Tweets at Dead Sports, DED Sports, and anybody else that'll pay me.
All right. Hey, both of y'all keep doing what you do.
Got a wedding to take care of this summer. Got a grandkid now, so anybody that'll pay me. I'm not stopping yet, but I can see the finish line, but I'm not coming around the last turn yet. So.
Yeah, good. Both of y'all keep going, man. Thank you so much, man. Hey, let me say something real quick. Sponsors, man, make this possible. Landers Ford, Memphis.com. Poplar and Houston Levy open every day of the week except Sunday. Brad Bellamy's the general manager. Ask for Brad. Keep it simple. Maintenance, car repairs, they got all of it covered for you. Also a new location, Mount Moriah and I-240, the iconic old Dobbs Ford location. So remember, also right down the street from Hewlett and Dunn Boot and Clothing Company on the historic square in Collierville, Tennessee, and hempforpros.com. If you got aches, you got pains, you got trouble sleeping, these gummies work. Use code Friday2025 at checkout, 25% off. Okay. The energy gummies, the chill gummies, the sleep gummies, and also the pain topicals, gels, and roll-ons. And the Hewlett and Dunn, look, all the men's and women's boots, Barber, Filson, cowboy hats, they got you covered from A to Z. And mytownroofing.com, folks, get your roof checked before it caves in. And remember, if you got to have your roof looked at, they'll come do it. Major Fusel, Corey Carter, Chris Fiedler, great people. Hey, both y'all think it's the face of Christ and the least among us. Everybody, thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe. For EP Brendan Martin, I'm Rob Brown. Have a great day, everybody.